What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Want to try something new? Boxingego report card. And just like the name suggests, I'm going to be grading certain events in boxing. And I want to start off with Premier Boxing Champs. Last night, they debuted their series on primetime TV, starting with Broner Molina, and the main event was Guerrero Thurman. So hopefully this video gets in the right hands and they listen to some of my feedback, and they could take the things, the constructive criticism, and maybe work on it, and then take the things that I appreciate and liked that they did and build from it and continue doing those things. So I want to start off with the main event. For the main event, for me, I gave it an A minus. I thought it was great. It was the type of fight where both fighters, they showed you that championship mind state. They showed heart. Keith Thurman battled a nasty knot on his head that could get you out of focus, but he remained focused like a true champion who was defending. Robert Guerrero showed a massive heart in his efforts. He was very valiant. He got knocked down, and it looked like he was on his way out. The very next round, he came back and rallied back, pinned Thurman against the ropes, and it was great TV. It was great for the sport of boxing. Another thing that I like about it is you could be flipping through the channels since boxing is back on primetime and stumbled upon this particular fight. This was a good introductory fight, like an introduction to the world of boxing. If you're a casual fan, you didn't really watch boxing before, you don't follow it, and you just stumbled upon this fight, that was a great fight to get your feet wet. So I gave it an A minus. The only thing that could have really made it higher is if it was overall more competitive. I think, again, Guerrero showed tenacity. He showed you how durable he is, but it was pretty one-sided. I think Keith Thurman dominated pretty much, and Guerrero he battled back and showed heart, but his efforts came up short. But I definitely would watch both fighters in the future, and I respect both fighters, so I gave it an A minus. Undercard. Now, I gave the undercard a C plus. I think overall I anticipated a little bit more, either Broner to put on a more masterful performance or it to be more competitive. And to me, it really wasn't. It was pretty lopsided for Broner, but based on the build-up, he said, I'm going to stop you in this. I kind of expected him not to. I like how he fought smart. So I'm not saying he should fight a dumb fight and get knocked out or something. But I think, given the fact that John Molina came out with a poor game plan and strategy, like John Molina came out very tentative and he wasn't really throwing. He didn't throw many punches. And given that fact, I think Broner could have done a bit more because his opponent wasn't matching him. It's not like he was just getting clobbered every time he threw three punches. You know what I'm saying? So just like Sugar Ray Leonard suggested, I think Broner could have closed the show more. No doubt about it. He won. He won fair and square. Some people are calling it a fixed fight. I just think I expected a bit more for Broner to have, like, you look at guys like Miguel Cotto, like a known elite guy, like Miguel Cotto versus Sergio Martinez. That was pretty much a shutout. Sergio Martinez was wounded, but it was pretty much a shutout. You look at Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo. That was pretty much a shutout. Chris Algieri versus Pacquiao. That was a shutout. So if Broner is to be elite, I expected a bit more. And he says he's the future of boxing, so you got to close the show like Sugar Ray Leonard. So for me, the undercard was a C plus. Again, I think John Molina, his game plan didn't really make sense. You look at things that have troubled Broner in the past, it's been guys who put uncomfortable pressure on Broner, guys with power, guys who force Broner to think on the spot. And John Molina possesses some of those attributes, the toughness, the aggression, the power, and I think he could have made it more of a dogfight than he did. So I give that fight a C plus. It was solid, but it wasn't what I expected it to be. For the commentators, I gave the commentator crew a B minus. It was solid, but to me it lacked something. It's just like, have you ever tasted a food and the food is not bad, but it doesn't just like tickle your taste buds kind of thing. That's kind of how I felt about the commentators. I really like Sugar Ray Leonard. Usually the former fighters do good. Marv Albert and some of the other players, I didn't get that excitement from them as you expect. Like, you watch HBO, you watch Showtime, whether you like their commentators or not. But when I watch Roy Jones Jr. calling the fights on the HBO, he's a fighter and he's a fan. And I feel like he conveys that, because I remember watching Ruslan Provodnikov versus Timothy Bradley, a great fight, an explosive fight, and just listen to the how the commentators sound. Like they sound like they're into it. Like, oh, like bro, I remember Roy Jones said, "What is Bradley made of?" Or someone said, "What is Bradley made of?" And Roy Jones was like, "Steel, steel, baby." And then watch the Pacquiao versus Marquez 4 fight when Pacquiao got knocked out. Roy Jones was like, "Oh, he's not getting up, Jim. He's not." And it's just a level of passion. I'm not saying the PBC commentators weren't passionate, but the way other commentator crews convey that energy and that passion, it kind of gets you excited. And I felt like it lacked some umph. Like I said, Sugar Ray Leonard was probably the best, in my opinion, just in terms of his assessment. But I just expected just a bit more enthusiasm and build up. You know what I mean? You watch even wrestling, and wrestling has, they get you into it like Shawn Michaels kick it, like, you know, they get you hyped and get you into it. So I just wanted a little bit more of that energy. So it wasn't a bad job, but hopefully they can just work on adding that zing to their presentation to really amp people up. So I gave the commentators a B minus. Visual graphics and decor, I gave that an A. I thought everything, the visual effects, the promo that they did, they had like a Mayweather Pacquiao promo. It really got me energized and excited for that particular fight. Another thing I liked, they had like a profile for different fighters that weren't even on this card. Deontay Wilder, Leo Santa Cruz, because the master plan is this. These fighters eventually will be on the network, so they're getting the fans, if you're casual fans or just tuning into boxing, they're getting you ready for that. And I really like that. The tale of the tapes and the video edits and corner to corner, everything that they've done so far to this point visually has been appealing. The way they dressed up the MGM, the lights, the colors, I really appreciate that and really like it. And I could tell they spent a pretty penny and put some money into that. So the visual graphics and decor, I gave it an A. Now, my biggest complaint was the ring entrance. I gave that a D minus. I wasn't feeling that at all. I thought it was corny, thought it was cheesy. They came down from like this wedding altar and there was no entourage, there was no crew. They didn't come out to personalize playlists. So you see Adrian Broner walking out and he's walking out with one person filming him and it's just him walking. So it was very bland. It was very boring. And as much as I hate Broner's music, I'm not a fan of his rap. But that seems more natural when he's coming out rapping and stuff like that. Even when he's not rapping. I remember one time he came out with rap artist Kendrick Lamar. That felt more natural because he was dancing and having fun and Kendrick Lamar was spitting his verse. And I know it's doable, even though boxing is on prime time. You have award shows like the Grammys and whatnot, and these artists perform their songs on the Grammys. Even if it has explicit lyrics, they just have a censored version of it. So to me, I wasn't feeling that. It had some kind of the Contender music or some Jurassic Park soundtrack. I just wasn't feeling that whole ring entrance. I thought it was very boring, and it kind of takes away from the fighters because the ring walk, for me, I'm a throwback fan. I watched one of my favorites growing up, Prince Nassim Hamed. He used to come out on Aladdin flying carpets, do a flip over the ring, and even old school Mayweather, he used to come out with elaborate sets, and Bernard Hopkins came out with the mask. Mike Tyson, he had the beady eyes, and he was like beads of sweat, and he was glistening, just come out, look real focused, looked like he was going to destroy somebody, come out to some DMX or Tupac song, something hard, gritty. That's boxing to me. That's what, you know what I mean? Sometimes you need that kind of WWF, WWE feel where the Ultimate Warrior runs out to the ring. It's a different level of energy. And I thought it was very watered down with Premier Boxing Champs, their ring entrance. That's why I gave it a D minus. It was very watered down. The fighters, I felt, couldn't really be themselves. Like they had to come out to this score instrumental, the Contender soundtrack. So it really made the event feel like it was an episode of Fear Factor or The Biggest Loser or something like that. And I just felt it was so unnatural. Broner, he's usually dancing. Pacquiao comes out and he's smiling and stuff like that. So I feel it really takes away when the fighters are coming out to like one particular soundtrack and it's just them. No entourage. Like you watch Mayweather, he comes out with big 7-foot bodyguards and a gang of people. And I don't know. I've been to live fights. Sometimes the Mexican fighters come out to like mariachi music that shows their national heritage and pride. They're waving like Mexican flags and stuff. To me, that's boxing. That gets you hyped up. Like when Brandon Rios came out, they're waving the Mexican flag and everyone's like, that's boxing to me. That just feels good and it gets you amped up and pumped for the fight. So I thought the presentation from Premier Boxing Champs in the ring entrance department was definitely lacking, and it felt too forced and too structured, and it didn't feel natural to me. So that's why I gave it such a low rating. Post-fight interviews, I gave that a C. I wasn't really feeling it. You had the main event, they interviewed Keith Thurman. For some reason, they didn't interview Robert Guerrero, and if you look at it, the crowd was pro-Guerrero. There were people yelling, Bay Area, and they were booing Thurman, and they were cheering and applauding when Guerrero had spots in the fight where he was doing good, and you don't interview him. So I didn't understand that. And besides that, I felt the interviews were also a bit bland. You didn't hear any call outs or even like, hey Broner, who do you want to fight next? If you could fight Maidana in a rematch, Lucas Matisse, Danny Garcia. That's boxing to me. That's a pivotal point in boxing. Call outs, funny ring interviews. I remember Hector Camacho, different people like that. And they have memorable post-fight interviews, like very memorable. Like anybody, all y'all niggas could get it. Like that's boxing to me. And now I know you can't say certain things on primetime, but I mean, it's still, I feel it could have been better, conducted better. Make sure you interview everybody. Broner did the usual, I just beat the out of Africans or Americans, Mexicans can't get it. I thought the post fights were lacking. For the crowd, gave the crowd an A-. I thought the crowd was pretty cool. Only thing I didn't like was when the crowd started to boo after probably the most exciting round of the fight. You had a knockdown, and then you had Robert Guerrero show that heart and rally back, and then I think it was the round after that the crowd started booing. But overall, I think the energy level in the MGM was great. People were excited for the event, so I gave the crowd an A-. Overall, I gave the whole event a B+. I thought it was a good event. Definitely a solid, a very solid debut for NBC, for Premier Boxing Champs. It definitely gained fans, in my opinion, based on it. But there's a couple things, as I pointed out in this video, that I think they could improve on and work on. But very solid. Their ratings should be good. I'll keep you guys posted if I hear anything about the ratings. But I enjoy myself. I had fun with the fights, and I just want to look forward to more great fights and more great events from Premier Boxing Champs. Let me know what you guys think of Boxingego report card. Really try to break it down and tell you my thoughts on the whole event. What did you like? What didn't you like? Drop me a comment. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.